I usually put these on at the beginning, take them off for most of the episode, and then when there's like 2 minutes, we're winding down, I'll put them back on just as like a cue.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Welcome everybody to episode 32 of Meet with Cheese Metaverse interviews. I'm your host, LeDrop WithCheese, coming to you from the Metaverse as usual. Today, I have a phenomenal guest for you guys. It's someone that I met at No Studios during Craft the Futures event. And he's a teacher at Upgrade Media Arts. He's the co-host of Young Black and Opinionated podcast. And he's also the founder of Audio Moguls Media. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mwanje Thompson. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thank you so much for having me, man. Thank you for bringing me into the metaverse as well with you. I need some lights, man. I need to get some lights over here in No Studios. I'm actually in No Studios right now, so we need to get some lights.
For sure, man. Well, thanks again. And, first question is, tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up to where you are now today.
Yeah, man. I would start my journey in college, and I'll try to keep it as real short and sweet as possible. So I started out wanting to be an electrical engineer at Milwaukee School of Engineering, and I made my parents proud. They're like, "Oh my God, we got to have an engineer in our family. I can't believe it. We have to make some money." Got to MSOE. Took my first semester. I sucked. I did poorly. I mean, this is the first time ever having to deal with failure. And it wasn't until I actually took a business course and I decided to change my major over to business and with the emphasis in marketing. And there I felt comfortable. I felt like I really enjoy it. I love the psychology behind marketing. I love understanding and learning businesses and what they do. And after I took that course, I decided to transfer over to UW Milwaukee and got my degree in business administration. And once again, in not finance, marketing. And so after that, during that time though, in college, I was in love with music. So I would produce, records. I would produce like folks come into my little closet in my dorm room and record songs. And so it wasn't until after maybe about a year or so after I graduated, my friends and we decided to say, hey, you know what, let's start a podcast in 2016. And I didn't know. I mean, I knew a little bit about podcasting, but I didn't know how to start my own podcast. So we just did it. We grabbed a microphone from Best Buy. It was a USB microphone, very cheap. I knew how to record. So we plug and play and started recording. And it wasn't until like maybe episode 6 or 7, we decided to really take it seriously. And during that time, I was like, I could really probably record folks and get money for this. And so I started at the time, Optimistic Sounds. And now here we are in 2022, Optimistic Sounds grew from just recording podcasts to Audio Moguls Media, growing podcasts, building podcasts and communities around that. And now I teach kids how to do podcasting. I have my own social arm, Brilliant Voices, where I'm helping kids during the summer in the community learn how to build their own podcast. And I'm helping those from poor and disenfranchised communities, even in the justice space, learn how to build their podcast. So it's truly a blessing from where I came from to where I'm now. And I'm happy to be here, man. I'm just happy to be here growing and learning. And that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I love what you're doing. You're helping kids, man. That's not something that a lot of us can say that we do, especially me. But I'm really glad that I got to hear you speak at the Web3 Town Hall for Craft the Future, because after you spoke, I'm like, okay, I need to talk to this guy immediately because there's a lot of parallel and synergy, and your enthusiasm for Web3 and building communities around what you've done in your life is exactly what Web3 is all about. So I'm here to help. And yeah, man. So as far as you teach at Upgrade Media Arts, how does that work? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing there.
Yeah. So last year, when I started Brilliant Voices and kind of got that program off the ground, I met the founder of this school. She was just starting the school. it was around, I want to say June or July that I started the program. And a friend of mine actually, she wanted someone to do the voice over for the phone system for the school. And my friend was like, I can't do it. I'll send you over to Mwanje. So I ended up doing it instead of asking for money, which is probably the best decision I ever made. I said, hey, I would like to meet the founder of the school and just have a conversation, see how can Brilliant Voices partner with the founder. And so we had a conversation, and she was like, I'm looking for someone to lead our podcast division here at Upgrade Media Art Schools. Would you do it? And I was like, yeah. Like, I never thought about teaching. I was working for an online furniture retailer, and I'm like, I'm already kind of getting tired of this space, and I wasn't really growing and learning anymore, and I was getting frustrated. And so I was like, yeah, why not? I'll be a teacher. Sure. And didn't know that my love for teaching actually stemmed out of just that conversation. And so I am the program lead here. I teach podcast and radio. Because I have to have a degree from the state, I teach business as well too, which is stemming from my degree from UW Milwaukee. And so I teach them podcasting, how to turn that podcast into a business, but also teaching them entrepreneurship. Right now, they're learning how to create their own pitch deck. They're learning how to not only create their own pitch deck, but how to pitch, how to build customers, what is scalability and economy of scales, and all these different things that I wish I had learned when I was in middle school and high school. And we're 6 to 12. And so middle schoolers are learning how to create their own pitch deck and really learn how to use the things they love to turn it into a business. And then I also, because I love Web3, I also get to teach them Web3. So they get to learn about cryptocurrency. They get to learn about blockchain. They get to learn about, all these different things on Web3. And they get super excited when we go into the metaverse and I bring my Oculus in and let them toy around with the Oculus and just play around with different tools. And so that's the beauty of being able to be in this space. And anything that I learn, I come back and turn it into an actual lesson for them. So they get to learn it at the same time I'm learning it. So when they get out of high school, middle school, they'll be ready to go. They'll be ready to function in Web3 society. And that's my goal.
That's an amazing goal. Yes. And the fact that you are able to like make such an impact on kids for their betterment of their future, not just, hey, how do I make a quick buck podcasting? It's like you're teaching them how to make this something that they can monetize forever. So that's great, enabling that freedom, which is what blockchain is all about, you know?
Wow, man.
So what are you doing in Web3 nowadays? What is your goal?
Yeah, so my goal is really to just build community around Web3 NFTs. I've learned how to use this app called spatial.io, and we built these incredible rooms, and people are like amazed at like, hey, it's The Sims. I'm like, yeah, but it's, you can do way more than just, cook food and set your house on fire. Cause that's all I did in The Sims. I don't know about you. I don't know if you played The Sims before, but all I did was just burn the house down and get robbed in The Sims. But you can really create your build out these expansive universes and metaverses, and what I like to call them mini verses because the rooms are not that big, but and really host your content and really give your customers, your clients, your community a new way to experience the business or the conference that you want to have. You can have a conference in those rooms. So we help them build out those rooms. One of the potential clients I was going to have was a college in down south, and they wanted to kind of build a space where it was like a campus away from a campus, and they wanted alumni and future students to come in and kind of experience the school before they got to the school. And we were going to use that spatial.io to build out that room, and then we were going to help them kind of build an NFT around that, so that if they wanted to join that school, they'll get an NFT coming in. And so it didn't work out, unfortunately, because the time frame just didn't work out. But those are some of the credible things that you can just do with Web3 technology that I'm super excited about. And not only helping podcasts, but just other industries that are out there, like HBCUs.
Yes, definitely. And there's so many use cases for blockchain and Web3 out there that businesses don't even comprehend yet, that I'm seeing happening every day now. So one of the cool use cases that you were telling me about earlier was one of the podcasters, you're helping them launch an NFT collection. Tell us about that.
Yeah, man. So we have a podcast on our network, Audio Moguls Network, podcast network, and she is the host of the Black Butterfly Experience. And so she's a clinical therapist that work with people that are in poor and disenfranchised communities, Black and brown communities, unfortunately, that don't have access to therapy resources. And so she's creating this podcast to give them the tools and the language, most importantly, to navigate through mental health. Her tagline is the voice the voice of depression. And so we're taking the butterfly and actually building an NFT around that to build community so people can get buy-in into not only her podcast, but also in the mission that she has to really amplify the voice of depression, really amplify the resources that are out there for folks that don't know how to get to a therapist, or maybe even in the Black and brown community, we know that therapy is something that's taboo. Thank God it's kind of getting better now, but there are still people that they call it the cuckoo house. You're going to the nut house, you're going to the cuckoo house, and it's sad that they say that, but that's just how they were growing up. So we got to give them grace on that. But she's really trying to destigmatize that. And by using the NFT, she's going to help those that are part of her community, not only track those that are part of her community, but help those that are that can get those resources and connect them to maybe lawyers, maybe doctors, maybe other resources that we really need. And she can track them through that NFT. So there's some really incredible things that you can do with NFTs, more than just make a quick buck, but really create a great community and a great social cause around Web3 technology.
Yeah, that's outstanding, man. Mental health is something that needs a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And people, like I'm 42. So 20 years ago when I was in the military, there was no mental health. They were like, wipe it off, stop crying,
Right.
this, and it's like they didn't care that you're taking kids that are 17, 18 at times and putting them in a combat zone. What do you think is going to be the end product after they get, so it's been overlooked for so long. And
Yeah,
I'm
man.
be glad to hear that you're participating in this. And I've seen a therapist and anger management voluntarily, and I've learned so much in the past few years alone, that I wish I had those kind of resources available to me. And my friends my age, they're like, oh, I don't never see a therapist, that's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
It's like, dude, you're still young, let's go. Do you want to improve yourself? No? Okay, that's fine. I will then.
Yeah. And COVID really, people were alone with their thoughts. Like before then, if you didn't know you had a mental health issue, you were able to move around and kind of do things, be with friends and family. If you felt yourself getting angry, or depressed, you could go take a walk or things like that. And sometimes that'll help you out, but then you find yourself still getting depressed. But during COVID though, when you're by yourself, you really had to deal with those things. And I think that's why the Black Butterfly Experience, or just therapy in general, is important, because now you have to deal with those thoughts, but you get help to do that. And I think really COVID kind of expanded our minds a little bit in regards to what mental health is, and even working on this podcast opened me up. Like I'm always trying to keep my ego in check, stay humble, and understanding what is a narcissist. That's one of the episode seasons that we're going to do, is the narcissism. What does that look like, and what does that look like in the Black and brown community? And so it really is something that I had to learn and step back and take notes, and that's why I enjoy podcasting, because I get to learn so much as well too. And I'm glad to help anyone that is trying to take their knowledge and expertise and build a podcast around it and give that information essentially for free, but you're building a community around it.
Yeah, I love it, man. I'm glad that that attitude is what the Web3 community is all about, is how can we help each other? How can I help you achieve what you want without having to go through traditional, I have to pay for a consultation, I have to pay just to talk to me. It's like we all are figuring this out because we're so early in it. And especially in Milwaukee, we're really early. How would you describe Milwaukee's overall landscape of Web3 building?
Yeah, I would say it's very, very collaborative. I like I said, I got in this space kind of the end of last year, and really got into it heavy at top of this year, and just really understanding what NFTs can do, and Web3 technology can do. And I met with a gentleman that has Oculus business where he goes in and teach teachers and teach students how to use the Oculus and what are some really cool things that you can do with the Oculus. His name is David Skurlock, and he's called In Your Face Learning. And we just did a show at the Pfizer this past August, the Lead the Movement Business Conference with Forever Media and Jamar Jones. And we were there having business execs come through and use the Oculus and not only have fun, but really kind of show some really cool things. And had we not been in the Web3 space, I would have never met him. Christopher Perception, I talked about him earlier, pre-production, like how, he's been showing and some of the things that he's doing. And so for me, I think it's just, once you get into the space, there is so many people that want to help you understand Web3 technology, and you can get in any way that you can, whatever level you want to. And so I think that is what's making Milwaukee so attractive to the Web3 space, is that you can get in wherever you want, you can learn as much as you want, and you're still contributing. And even if you contribute a little bit, you're still getting back some type of value from that. And I think Milwaukee is a great space to do that, because we're small, we're big, but we're small enough where everyone kind of knows everybody. And we got that big city, little town community. I always say that Milwaukee's like Atlanta. We could be Atlanta in the next 5 years, where everyone in Atlanta is helping each other out in that big space. And that's why Atlanta is so attractive to so many people. I think we can be the same thing up north. We can be the Atlanta up north, if you will. And Web3 is helping us do that. So I think it's very, very, very attractive. And if you don't understand Web3 technology, talk to someone, get in right away, and you'll be good. I promise you'll be good.
Yes, that is great advice. And it is such a small community in Milwaukee of Web3 builders right now, where I feel like we all kind of know each other, even though I've been involved that long in Milwaukee's Web3 community. I feel like I've met a lot of the builders, right? And David Skurlock was actually a guest on my show about 20 episodes ago.
Wow.
Yes, In Your Face Learning, because that's exactly what we need is education. Just have fun with it first.
Yep.
You don't need to know what an NFT is or what an immutable ledger is, like what coin. Just experience the tech and enjoy. And that's really how we're all going to adopt it. So it's awesome that we know David together as well.
Yeah. He's a great guy, man. Great guy. Love what him and his nephew's doing. I love it, man. I love them.
Yeah, for sure, man. So you said you started a podcast like 6 years ago called Young, Black, and Opinionated, and that's still going, right?
Yeah. I wrapped up. My friend just came up from Houston actually yesterday. Yesterday. And she we decided to do an episode. We normally would do the episode on Sundays. We did it yesterday, this past Tuesday. And yeah, man, we're still rocking. I think we're on episode 267 now.
267 episodes.
Yep, 267. It would be further along had we not take the hiatus, but we kind of experienced some burnout. So one thing I do recommend for podcasters, if you want to take some time away, just let your audience know you need it for yourself. But we were doing episodes every single week, and sometimes twice a week. And then when we had the radio show, we were doing episodes like 3 times a week. So, but yeah, 267.
That's intense. Well, congratulations on making it.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Have that many episodes and you're still going strong. So what is the podcast about?
Yeah. So the podcast the premise is 3 Black millennials. We take a look at hot topics, news topics, that's in the world. And we just kind of put our lens on it. It's our opinions on it. Of course, we give the facts. So we do our research beforehand. So let give you the episode's not out yet, 266, but we talked about the NBA, Jordan Poole, and that whole incident with Draymond Green, and how, Jordan Poole is a Milwaukee native. So, how does that look? And he just got his $140 million contract, I think, for the next 4 or 5 years. And but just kind of exploring topics like, so the main topic is, Jordan Poole got punched in the face, he got $140 million. But the bigger topic is, what do you do as a young athlete and your veteran athlete is kind of maybe jealous? Or what do you do that in the workplace? How does that look when you're in the young, new hot employee, and your veterans are not getting the same love that they used to? Like, how does that work? We take those topics that seemingly surface level, and we go deep into it. We talk about relationships. What does it look like to, be with someone that, that has, I think the last episode we talked about a gentleman who was, afraid to be with his woman because he had a body image issue, and they've been together for 8 years, and she wanted to know why he would never took his shirt off when they go to the pool. He always had his shirt on. He wasn't, a bigger guy. He just never took his shirt off. Things like that, where it's like, okay, now we're talking about body image and self-confidence. And so we take those seemingly surface level topics and we go deep into it, and we have fun. We joke around, we laugh. I'm the only guy on the show, so I get a lot of the man bashing questions, and I'm used to it now. It's been 6 years. I'm so used to it now. I get people texting me all the time like, why would you say that? And I'm like, I mean, this sometimes is what men think. But the larger issue is, communication. How do you communicate with someone? So but yeah, so we take a look at the topics of the week. We go from there, and we look at local issues like in Houston, in Milwaukee, and in Tennessee. We take those and those news outlets and really kind of have conversations around that.
That's great, man. It's like you take topics and then you're like, how can we actually be humans and improve ourselves around topics that we're discussing?
Absolutely.
I'll have to check it out, man. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your work. I haven't had a chance to do that yet.
It's all good. I appreciate it.
But what would you say, that moment of realization for yourself where you're like, okay, Web3 is never going to go anywhere. It is here forever, and we can all benefit from it.
I think for me, it was last year, really, when I did a lesson on NFTs and just cryptocurrency and how the students gravitated towards it. And I was doing research, and I saw Beeple get $69 million for his whole work of NFT projects. And I was like, wait a minute, this is a lot of money for some digital artwork. Like, what is going on here? And then really seeing like kids actually making money from it. And I showed the students that, and they were like, I want to learn more. And so that got me into really, when I started really digging and doing research in Web3 technology, that's when I knew that this is serious. And not because it's me, I'm the one that figured it out, but as I started to learn more information and started obtaining information, I'm like, people are doing some really incredible things in this Web3 space. I don't think this is going anywhere. I think right now where it's at, as far as, at that time where people were just making artwork and selling it for millions of dollars. Of course, I am like, that's cool. That's quick money. But when I started to see real social projects being done behind NFTs, that's when I knew, like, okay, people can really flip this and make this into something that is tangible, that even though it's non-fungible, it's something that can be tangible as well too. And people can really use this for some really great work and projects. And the beauty of it, because it's digital, it will be around forever, as long as we want it to be.
Yes, man. Couldn't agree with you more. And that's similar to how I feel about all of it. Is like the first chapter 1 of NFTs is profile pictures and bored apes and doodles and all that crypto punks. Chapter 2 is token gated communities with actual utility that is going to benefit them based on their interests.
Yep.
Now, I'm not sure what chapter 3 is going to be, but I think it has a lot to do with businesses leveraging the technology to engage consumers and normalize that tech for all of us, for the betterment of humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when corporations are finally going to be able to show how social they really are and how they really do care about issues. I think in Web3 technology is going to really help them do that. And people like you and me can go into these companies and consult them and say, no, you guys should be doing this, and this is how you do it. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I think we're on the cusp of that. Chapter 3, we're almost towards the end of, maybe right. What would you say? Are we kind of right in the middle of chapter 2, or kind of ending off in chapter 2?
I would say we're just at the beginning of chapter
Okay.
2.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because we have all of these great blockchains that have different competitive advantages in the marketplace. So Bitcoin is like a commodity, it's gold, there's only a
Right.
limited amount, and it's a currency mainly. And then we have Ethereum that is super utility driven, and there's so many projects developed on there initially where a lot of those profile picture collections leveraged. But now that these other blockchains are starting to have a lot of development on them, the profile picture collections are starting to pop up. Like on Solana is a very popular blockchain for PFP collections right now. And I
Yeah.
think we're going to see that wave kind of go like this through all the blockchains. And then they're like, okay, our next collection will actually give you something called utility that matters to you, instead of just trying to make a quick buck and flipping NFTs, because it's our blockchain's turn to do what Ethereum did. So
Yeah.
we're about still towards the middle of chapter 1, I would say.
Oh, okay. 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 I would agree with that. I love the explanation, and I would totally agree with that. We are still trying to figure out what are some more use cases for this. And then like you said, the blockchains are really kind of fighting. Well, I'm faster than you. Well, what, I've been here longer, and I can do X, Y, and Z. I'm more popular than you are. Look at all these businesses that are using me. I think about that with Ethereum a lot. So yeah, you're right. You're right. But I love Solana though. It's so fast and cheaper too.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great blockchains out there that are going to make a huge difference. And instead of competing, and especially on the collector end, because I'm an avid NFT collector on many different blockchains, but stop being an Ethereum only collector.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Like
got
there's
to
other great
diversify.
projects out there. Like we have
Yeah.
to come together and understand that we're all going to make it.
Yep. That's the beauty about Web3, is I believe that everyone can make it in this space. You just find your little corner of the Web3 world, and you're good to go, and put your flag down. And no one has to go and conquer your corner, because there's enough of it to go around.
Yes, absolutely. And that's kind of how I describe it to people. They're like, oh, you're in Web3, metaverse, NFTs. And I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, Facebook is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
the has nothing to do with Facebook. Facebook and Web3, if you're looking up at the sky and you see millions of stars, they're just one little dot in Web3.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
And they really effed up their strategy from the beginning, man. Like
Yeah.
they're up shit's creek because they're like, we're going to be the only metaverse. Guess what? That's not how it was designed. That's not how it's going to flourish and benefit us all. And now they're like kind of scaling back on some of their ambitious plans without knowing anything. I feel like the first
Yep.
version of their horizons was kind of like Second Life.
Yeah.
That was a metaverse 20 years ago.
Yep.
And the metaverse is really just an ecosystem of AR, VR, gaming, cryptocurrency, just in spatial computing.
Yep.
People are like, oh, I don't want anything to do with NFTs and metaverse. Do you own a Tesla? Have you ever gone into an Amazon Go store? Because
Yeah.
those spatial computing. And so whether or not you believe in it, you're still involved with it very heavily. It's happening
Absolutely.
in front of your face.
Absolutely. When you walk past the store and your phone gets a computer, gets a coupon, like all that good stuff, like that is the world that we're going to live in. And now, like you said, now I was going to say it the next couple of years, but now you can put on some glasses and AR. I mean, AR. It just, you can see certain things in this world that aren't there, and you can interact with it and actually buy this and buy that, and it can come to your home, or you can go to the store and pick it up because you had your glasses on and you just, clicked a button. So that's just the beauty of it. And that's just where the world is heading to, or at least America, because I'm pretty sure other places are already ahead of us. So Hong Kong and Japan, and they're probably already ahead of us doing all those cool things. So
Yeah, for sure. And I agree that augmented reality aspect is something that I think is going to be huge in the future. Like
oh, yeah.
virtual reality is replacing your reality. You're
Yeah.
going somewhere. Augmented is just improving it or amplifying the value that you have. So what I'm looking forward to is getting glasses, not like these, but the AR glasses,
Yeah.
and walking around my own yard and seeing, okay, what is this plant that I never looked up? What
Yeah.
is this tree? What is that bird flying by? I can't wait for the educational side of it, because
Yes.
I'm always going to be a student.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine camping and you in need of some food, and you can't eat that plant. Oh yeah, you can eat this plant. This plant is fine. Cook it with this, do that, or hey, be aware that we found that bears are in this area, this part of the trail. Things like that, and it's just gonna be really enhance our lives and make our lives incredible. And I'm excited for the technology as well too, and that's why I say kids, they have to learn this stuff now, because this is just going to be their normal life for them.
Yeah, I think one good way to preface it to your kids that you're teaching, and giving them all the good alpha that you are, is that we have the opportunity right now, whether you want or not, it's up to you. We can build the foundational pillars for future generations for the betterment of humanity.
Yeah.
you know that's a powerful statement that I love to say all the time, but it resonates with people and they remember that. And it's not just the NFT that I'm flipping to make money. I'm actually building something that matters for all humans.
Yep. For all humans. And that's how we live. I had to write that down. I love that. For the future of humanity. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, being in this space and for a couple of years, and I've gone to as many conferences as I can, and I'm always just so blown away every time I go to a conference, because I get to meet 50, 100 people and have conversations. And it's like, what are people actually building that's going to benefit us?
Yeah.
There is so much out there that are amazing use cases that I wish we had enough time to go through them all and tell the viewers. But
Yeah.
me and you can collaborate on side there and talk about what's actually making a difference for humans, because it's so exciting for me.
No, yeah, yeah. And it's that's the beauty of it, just taking technology and taking social ideas. And last year I remember I taught a section in my class, socialpreneurs, like what does it mean to be a social entrepreneur, and what does that look like, and what are you going to do with your business, because that is the trend. So a lot of businesses or customers don't want to interact with businesses that don't have some type of social mission. That's why Ben and Jerry's is so popping, because they'll go to jail for their causes, right? So, but that is part of their and their ice cream is doing well. But that is just part of their whole makeup of their business, of just having some type of social, social good behind their product or their brand.
Yes, every corporation, every NFT project, Web3 builder should have that social implication always in the back of their head. Is this helping humans? How
Yes,
can humans, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, man. Well, it's been great. I just want to
Thank you,
ask
man.
you, how can we support you?
Yeah. Yeah. So you can do a couple of things. You can go to my website, audiomogulsmedia.com. Check out the podcast there. Take a listen. There are multiple podcasts there. If you see the logo, or if you see a sound wave by it, that is a podcast that's under our network. So definitely check them out. You can go to our social media, Audio Moguls Media as well. And follow us, and we'll follow you back. Email me, Mwanje, MWANJE at audiomogulsmedia.com. I respond back. I love having conversations, so please reach out. And yeah, man. And thank you so much for having me on the show, talking about Web3. learning from you. I'm always willing to learn from folks that are in this space, and how I can grow and how I can use Web3 to better, better change our environment and our world, our communities, and our children, for sure.
Yes. Thank you so much, man. I applaud what you're doing.
Thank you,
Keep
man.
kids, man. Keep growing the Web3 community in Milwaukee with me and worldwide, because
Yeah,
we're all make it, man.
we are going to make it. And that's the beauty of Web3. We all can make it. We all can make it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mwanje. It's been
Take,
great talking to you today.
take care, man. Thanks for having me.